G'day guys, welcome friends, welcome back, and as promised we're back from the lake, and going to tell you a little bit about the big project we've got on right now, which is the little Land Rover here. It's my main project. It's going to take me a couple of years to build. I'm going to bring you along on the journey of all sorts of fabrication and assembly and cleanup and rebuild of all sorts of bits on this. And I guess the story of this started about 15 years ago when I got a Range Rover Classic, about the 1993 model with the air suspension, and drove that for a number of years until finally the body rusted out, the electronics let go. So we stripped the body shell off. For many years now we've been throwing around all sorts of project ideas, and finally a friend of mine who had the galvanized coil sprung chassis here to accept the Range Rover components on the bottom half and then a series body shell on top. We finally got together and I managed to get a hold of that chassis. So we're starting to build. We're in the beginning stages, just mocking things up, so nothing really lines up 100%. Just trying to get the concept of which parts we're going to use off what models. Now, a lot of the model parts we're going to use, everything from the running gear, pretty much the running gear from the 93 Range Rover, although she's sitting on coils right now. Not sure if we're going to go air. A lot of things to decide over the next couple of years as we continue to build. So 93 Range Rover running gear. We've got a diff locker out of Australia in the back. The engine's out of a 2002 Range Rover with a 4.6 litre. And we're dressing it up with the twin SUs, the old style valve covers. Keep a little bit of a vintage feel to the program. So we are putting a V8 into essentially a Series 1, which is going to be a coil sprung truck. And we can get away with a lot here in North America, which is great, because I could have never done this back in Australia when I lived there. Only dreamed about it, or if I could do it, couldn't drive it on the road. So on the front of the engine here, we're going to do a bit of a walk around soon. We're switching from the V-belts over to a 7-tone belt. It's a little bit cleaner, a little bit neater, a little bit nicer looking. We're going to try and stick with a series style radiator. A lot of parts are going to be new. This is the radiator out of the 1957 Series 1. Now the name of this truck, it is the body shell at least, is a 1957 80-inch short wheelbase wagon, and with the safari roof on top. Its name is Ivy, and we'll put a couple of pictures here and you'll be able to see why she's called Ivy, where she came from. So very fitting name. And we're going to try and keep it looking as factory as we can. There's going to be obviously some slight alterations, but we want to really keep that Land Rover look. Now this chassis was originally designed to have the grille at the very front like a Defender. So we did have to do some custom engine mounts, moving the engine back about 4 inches, where we are fudging and using parts from many different years and models. There's going to be some Defender stuff, there's some Range Rover stuff, Classic, as well as the P38, as well as the Series 1 stuff as well from the original 1957, which we do have the chassis and engine and gearbox for, and all the running gear and everything. Was a complete truck when I got it. So we're using the body shell off that, and we're also using the transfer case out of that. And so we're running the 4.6 V8. It's coupled to an SM 465 Muncie gearbox, sorry, 4-speed Muncie with the granny first. Now those two are coupled together, the engine to the gearbox, with a 1962 Buick 215 bell housing, which has been modified slightly, a larger hole in the middle to accept that. And then beyond that, we'll go and take a look, is it's advanced adapters, adapter to adapt the SM465 Chevy 4-speed back to their Series 1 transfer case, which will also be rebuilt with some high ratio center gears. because we've got plenty of power and we can get down the highway nice and comfortable. So let me grab the camera, we'll do a bit of a walk around, and thanks for coming back, and I hope you join me on this journey of this project. It is going to take a couple of years. There's going to be many other little projects coming along and getting in the way in the meantime, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Start where we were just talking about with the engine and transfer case. Let's pop the door off here, get it out of the way. Take the seat box out. In the back we got the 1957 Series 1 transfer case. We've just finished doing, where are we? That transfer case mount. We made that one to look all factory. What we have on the side of the chassis here is a factory one. This one here, out of something, Land Rover, not sure. And then we've got this one here. We did make that one to fit and make it work. So in front of that is the advanced adapters adapter to connect the SM465 Chevy 4-speed to the transfer case. Matthew there at Advanced Adapters knows his stuff about the Land Rovers. Great, excellent work. So then we're going to skip up to the front. And the bell housing in the back here, as I say, it's a bell housing off a 1962-63 Buick with the 215 block, which then became the Rover V8 block. Slightly modified on the center hole. We are running the twin SUs. And well, we'll see how they go anyway. We're not sure how well that's going to work on a 4.6 vintage, the older style valve covers. And then we are going to run a serpentine belt as well. And then trying to keep it factory as we can with the breakfast or the front grille step back a little bit from the end of the fenders. Now we will be doing some trick stuff with the fenders just to keep everything looking like it fits and looks properly. That radiator is there just for mock-up. We will be using a series style radiator. And here we are, still selecting parts. Here's a couple of the serpentine alternator brackets. There's two different ones here. We're just trying to see which one. I think we're going to go for this P38 one with some spaces behind it. It brings the alternator down a little bit, makes it a little bit more compact. Then there is the engine mount extensions. This is the factory, well, as it came out of the shop. This would normally be bolted into here, but to get everything back as far as we can, or a little bit to keep that front nose looking stepped in, we did extend it 4 inches back. At the moment, we do look like we're going to be using the Range Rover exhaust manifolds, although we may go to extractors. We'll see. They're moving back. On the other side, as you can see, we are going to build it right-hand drive. Now I'm an Aussie, so I love my right-hand drives coming from there. So we are going to do it right-hand drive. It's not a big deal here in North America and Canada. So so we're going right for the nostalgic feel of an Australian truck. And as well, works a little bit better under the hood when we put the brake booster and all the pedals in here. We are going to be rebuilding this firewall completely here over the winter, and from scratch. We may be reusing the centerpiece down here. We're cheating completely from scratch, but we are cheating using some Defender footwells, which has all the cutouts and everything for a right-hand drive Defender for the brake booster and everything already. But most everything else we are going to be doing from scratch. And then on this side, down here, next we're going to be doing the transfer case mount from here up to here. It is extremely tight. Extremely tight to come up from here, up, sit on here. But that's our next mount. So then we'll have the engine mounted, and back here we have managed to. Part of the reason for this gearbox is it's extremely short, and with this setup, we do get a 21.5-inch rear drive shaft, which is 1.5 inches longer than what I was going for. So the rest of it is pretty much Range Rover suspension underneath. These rims are probably not the rims we're going to use. We'll probably go to some steel rims. Once again, trying to go for that factory look. And then the body shell and the rest of it will be the 1957 Series 1 body shell. We do have the roof as well as all the other parts we need, because it was a complete truck. Now Ivy's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of work in the meantime, so stick around and join us on the journey to get Ivy rebuilt into a Series 1 1957 coil sprung V8 Land Rover, and it's going to be a hoot. In the meantime, we are going to be doing a bunch of other stuff, some from the Honey Do list, some from the Honey Don't Know list, and some from the Honey Does Know list. So here's a little walk around the Series 1 Ivy, the V8 Series 1 Land Rover. Thanks for joining me on this little episode. That's what's going to be happening with Ivy. We're going to learn a lot more as we go through and decide a lot of different things that we're going to do with her as we go. Remember to like and subscribe, and come back and see some more of Ivy and all the other projects we're going to do, both here and up at the lake. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you very much. See you again.